to politics. Hillary Clinton seems to be rebounding from a summer slump, or is there still a tough road to hoe? We have Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, Democrat from Ohio, joining us this morning. Congresswoman, thank you very much for joining us this morning on New Day. You see the new poll numbers. Joe Biden. Does Joe Biden represent positives about Joe Biden or perceived negatives about Hillary Clinton? What's your take?
Well, I think that it's all positive. Joe Biden is a wonderful vice president, and certainly Hillary Clinton is a wonderful candidate for president. So I think as Democrats, we're fortunate to have two good individuals. I think it's more about his son's request to him. I think it's more about his history of wanting to be president versus it being about Hillary Clinton.
Senator Sanders, what do you think about him, that when he comes into the race, he seems to be giving the celebration of passion by the left of the party, and Hillary not so much, not the big crowds? How do you perceive that?
Well, I think it's going to take everyone. And certainly Bernie, like Joe, we're all friends. We're very fortunate as Democrats that we have candidates who could represent us well. We don't have a cast of characters. Bernie represents the far left, as you mentioned. And I think when you look at Hillary and you look at her experience, I think she brings a lot to the table. And certainly when you look at the poll numbers, they've been up and down, but Hillary is far out in the polls now. I think they're going to continue to increase as we get closer to the primary date. I think when you look at the number of women, African-American women, African-Americans, and others who are supporting her, you will continue to see those numbers grow.
Well, you've also seen the numbers continue to slide somewhat, right? She's taken, in some measures, a hit with women. Her unfavorable has gone up. It's almost about 50-50 in some numbers. That's unusual. What do you account for it?
I think it's somewhat unusual if you believe in polls and if you only look at polls. We could look at her polling numbers if we go back 8 years ago. I remember in my run for Congress, I brought the passion and I brought a lot to the table, but my polling numbers, if you believe strictly in polling numbers, I would not be sitting here as a member of the U.S. Congress. So I don't put all my faith into polling numbers. I believe Hillary Clinton is doing a great job. I think you're going to continue to see her grow. I think you're going to continue to see those numbers go up. We've seen her in the most recent weeks be able to increase those numbers with women. We've seen her attack the issues, and I think that's what it's about. When you look at the issues, the real issue that Americans care about, the real issues that women and families care about, Hillary Clinton is right on target with it. So let's think about the issues that people vote on. People don't vote on the polling issues.
Well, it depends. I mean, usually the issues at the top of the polls, as you well know, Congresswoman, are these pocketbook issues that we're talking about. What the media sometimes cover
Absolutely.
Isn't what's at the top of the polls. I'll grant you that. And it also seems that Hillary Clinton doing more interviews may be helping her. You know, she was in this cone of silence, just taking this popular tour with little groups, and I don't know that that was working in her favor. Let me ask you something about the 2008 race. This intolerance of Muslims is now in the mainstream of the GOP field in terms of the level of discourse. Ben Carson saying what he's saying, Donald Trump saying what he's saying. There has been pushback from the right saying Hillary Clinton started this Obama's a Muslim stuff with her campaign circulating a picture in 2008. What do you think of that?
Well, I think if we look at her recent answer, that's what's most important.
Why?
Clearly, she defended the president because she has served with the president. She's his Secretary of State. Certainly, when you look at her remarks, she was one of the first to come out. Unlike many of the Republican candidates, she came right out, whether it was
But what about the
Trump,
fact that she was one of the first to raise the issue, though? And not her campaign.
Well,
you got to be responsible for your campaign. That's how it is.
And I certainly agree that you have to be responsible for your campaign, but I think I'm more concerned about where she is now and what she's saying now. I don't think she started that issue also. I think if you look at the relationship that President Obama has with Hillary Clinton, I think if you look at what she just said and how she denounced all of the things that Ben Carson and Trump didn't do and what Ben Carson did say. And so I think when you mentioned polling earlier, when you look at the polling, most people believe that, one, he was born in Hawaii, and two, that he's a Christian. They accept that he has said that. I certainly know that and believe that. And I think that's where we move forward. Too often we get caught up in the semantics of what one thinks someone said. And I can tell you, I know Hillary Clinton, and I know emphatically what she said 2 days ago is true to what she believes now and what she believed then. They were in a political race, and I think oftentimes people, as you know, just like with the polls, they put a spin on it. But let's look at what she's talking about when you talk about the economy in healthcare, when you talk about the number
issues, it'll
of
make
individuals.
I hear you. I hear you on it, Congresswoman.
Absolutely. And the issues when you look at our prison system and the things that she's talking about reforming, she's right on message with the American
well,
people.
the more talk about issues, the better for the voters. No question about that.
Absolutely.
Congresswoman Beatty, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome back to New Day anytime. Mick?
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Ben Carson.